Good evening. My name is Chaplain Keith Tower, and welcome to the second annual Night of Excellence, an award ceremony honoring the Ocoee Police Department. Please rise for the presentation of colors from the Ocoee Police Department Honor Guard, followed by the national anthem, sung by Officer Dwayne Hunt.
Forward, march. Honor guard, march time. Honor guard, hold. Left face. Present arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? The brave.
Honor guard, order arms. Right face. Forward. Left. 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 Right. Left. 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 Right. Left.
Our Father in heaven, we thank you so much for this special occasion where we can honor and remember those that have dedicated so much of their lives in service in this police department. We thank you for their dedication. We thank you for their zeal and their enthusiasm and their faithfulness to their jobs and their willingness to serve the community in such a vital role. We thank you so much for those that are civic-minded, that support them, their families, that of course love them so much and care for them as they put their lives in harm's way day by day. And the greatest thing is that they come home safe. We ask you, Father, that you continue to watch over them, keep them safe. Our Father, we pray for our nation, that it would be safe, that you would continue to bless us and help us through the troubling times, not only because of the virus, but because of the political problems and things that are going on today. We pray for peace and healing in all matters. Our Father, We give you thanks because we know that you are in control of all things. We ask your blessings again upon those that are here today. Give them long lives and healthy service to you, and bless us all. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
All right, we're here tonight to do a award ceremony for the police department annual celebration. I just want to say a few words and a few comments about the police department. I've been involved in the city for about 34 years, and I've watched our police department grow from a small unit to one of the top units in the county and the state. We've got a group of guys and women there that are wonderful people that work for our police department. True dedication to our citizens, that's what we want, is the dedication. They put a lot of effort into their jobs, and we appreciate them. We want them to know that we hope they have a great award ceremony, and all the ones that are getting rewards, we want to thank them and appreciate their service to our city. It is a wonderful thing to have a police department that we know that we can count on to protect our citizens as we go about our jobs in our lives every day, which is a big thing in our city. They're one of the top. They just got their awards for being the top and the number one in the police department for their certification. So we appreciate that, the effort and the time that they put in for this job. So once again, I want to thank them. I wish I could be here. It's a virtual deal, I guess. So we want them to know that we love them. We want them to know that we appreciate them, and let them know that anything we can do to keep moving our force forward, that's what we want to do.
Hello, my name is Richard Firstner, and I'm the District 3 City Commissioner for the City of Ocoee. I've been affiliated in different ways with the Ocoee Police Department now for the past 25 years, and I've watched them come from a very good department to an outstanding law enforcement agency. That's demonstrated by the award that they won in 2019 of the state of Florida Law Enforcement Accreditation. If you don't know what that means, it means that the City of Ocoee Police Department is the best of the best. There are only a few agencies that attain accreditation, and this speaks for itself. And that brings us here today to recognize the officers that have gone above and beyond the professional standards and excellence that the department already delivers. These officers have demonstrated in multiple disciplines how they have taken the ball and they've just gone with it and showed the rest of the city and the rest of the state how to deliver excellent law enforcement services. And we're very thankful for that. So that being said, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and the City of Ocoee is very proud of you. Keep up the good work and stay safe out there.
Good evening and welcome to 2021. This is for you, officers of the Ocoee Police Department. We are so thankful that you guys have done such a wonderful job in 2020. And of course, 2020 was such an incredible year for us in many different ways. So we just like to say thank you for all the help you've done, not only for ourselves as a municipality, for our residents as well. There's many things that we could have done differently, but the things that we did, I think we were right on the mark. 2021, I think, is going to be a wonderful year. I think we're going to have some great changes, and I wish you well in this year. So Happy New Year, and thank you again.
Good evening. I'm humbled and honored to be here at the awards ceremony for our police department. First and foremost, 2020 has been a year of vision for all of us, especially our police department. You guys have answered the call on many occasions throughout 2020 and allowed us to keep moving through COVID, the challenging times that we had in the city. But we're here in 2021, and Happy New Year to you all. What I would like to say to the greatest police department in Orange County, that you guys are just a force to be reckoned with. I am awed by the leadership, the training, and the education that you guys bring to the job every single day. I'm proud to be a citizen of Ocoee, and I want to thank you so much for putting the work in and being there for us. It is because of you that we all sleep at night, and I want to thank you so much for the hard work that you guys all do.
Thank you to the Ocoee Police Department, a group of first responders, for their valiant work to keeping our community safe. The past 10 months have been trying, to say the least, to our community, and you being in the front lines, I consider that outstanding. Our residents are always telling me what a wonderful police department we have, and I agree. Our police department is a vital part of our community, and you make us proud. Please stay safe, and thank you for keeping our community safe.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2020 celebration of our officers. Today, we're going to recognize the great work that our officers have done all year. 2020 was challenging, to say the least, for many reasons. Our citizens, some of our family members, many of our team members have faced these challenges through the year. But today is our opportunity to recognize the hard work that they continue to do in our entire police department. And so all the officers will come up, get their awards, and we're going to take a minute to celebrate 2020, and then 2020 will be over with. So welcome, and we're going to welcome all the officers. Thank you.
Every year, our police chaplains take an oath of office. Tonight, Chief Brown will give the oath of office to our police chaplains: David Hartbarger from Ocoee Church of Christ, Gary Howell from Glad Tidings Church, Dr. Gloria Stevens from Macedonia Free Will Baptist Church, and Keith Tower from High Point Church. Chaplain Gary Howell from Glad Tidings Church was unable to join us today.
Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear and affirm that I am a citizen of the United States of America and the state of Florida, and I am legally qualified to assume the position of chaplain, that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America and the state of Florida, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of this position to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations. Thank you.
In 2020, the department grew with the addition of 18 new employees. Please join us in welcoming our new employees to our family. Peter Cady Sr., who currently works as a community service aide. Jessica Pinto, who currently works as a community service aide. Gavin Sullivan, who currently works as records clerk in the records department. Most of the 2020 police officer new hires were already sworn in by Chief Brown when they were hired, but tonight, 5 new police officers will be sworn in by Chief Brown. Every new officer will be presented a certificate that states the oath of office they took. All of our new police officers are either currently assigned or will be assigned to the patrol division. Richard Diaz. Jeffrey Hall. Robert Hall. Mariah Holmes. John Huss. Raymond Knowles. Joseph Langer. Eladio Martinez, Ricky Perrian, Oscar Plasencia, Bailey Sarp, Thomas Stern, Omar Valle Torres, in March of 2020, the police department hired 2 new deputy chiefs, Chris McKinstry and Vincent Ogburn.
All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Richard Diaz. I, Jeffrey Hall. I, Raymond Knowles. I, Raymond Martinez. I, Bailey Sarah.
Do swear and affirm
Swear and affirm
to uphold the Constitution
to uphold the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the Constitution and the laws
and the Constitution and the laws
of the state of Florida
of the state of Florida
and the charter and the ordinances
and the charter and the ordinances
of the city of Ocoee.
of the city of Ocoee.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and I will faithfully and impartially
and I will faithfully and impartially
perform the duties of police officer
perform the duties of police officer
for the city of Ocoee
for the city of Ocoee
according to the law,
according to the law,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
understanding and training,
understanding and training,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
The following police officers are being recognized with a certificate of appreciation for their continued years of service and dedication to the police department and to the city of Ocoee. Please join us in congratulating them on this achievement. 5 years of service. Sergeant Blake Prince, who was hired on 12/21 in 2015 and is currently assigned to the Community Affairs Unit. 10 years of service. Corporal Trista Blake, who was hired on 9/13/2010 and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. Officer Christopher Bonner, who was hired on 4/19/2010 and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. 15 years of service. Sergeant Michelle Coleman was hired on 10/3/2005 and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. Lieutenant Jack Davidson, who was hired 11/28/2005 and is currently assigned to the Community Engagement Division. Detective David Gray, who was hired on 1/9/2006 and is currently assigned to the Criminal Investigation Division. 20 years of service. Sergeant David Ogletree, who was hired 6/6/2000 and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. Corporal Jason Price, who was hired on 1/8/2001 and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. The following personnel were recently promoted. Please join us in congratulating them on this great accomplishment. Curtis Beck was hired on 11/17/2014, promoted to the rank of corporal on 1/11/2021, and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. Trista Blake was hired on 9/13/2010, promoted to the rank of corporal on 1/11/2021, and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. Michelle Coleman was hired on 10/3/2005, promoted to the rank of sergeant on 1/11/2021, and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. Leo Gomez was hired on 5/27/2008, promoted to the rank of sergeant on 8/24/2020, and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. David Ogletree was hired on 6/6/2000, promoted to the rank of sergeant on 12/14/2020, and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. Sima Placencia was hired on 10/17/2016 and promoted to the rank of Assistant Chief on 3/2/2020. Brian Pace was hired on 2/9/2009, promoted to the rank of Lieutenant on 1/11/2021, and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. Sean Walsh was hired on 7/6/1999, promoted to the rank of Lieutenant on 12/14/2020, and is currently assigned to the Patrol Division. The Community Service Award is awarded to employees or citizens for outstanding acts of community service, involvement in programs that enhance the community or the image of the city or the agency. Chief Brown is awarding 2 Community Service Awards to the Business Partner of the Year and the Community Partner of the Year. The Community Partner of the Year, the Wolf 103.1, and the Certificate of Appreciation reads, in recognition of your outstanding contribution to our department's mission of partnering with the community in various events, such as Stuff the Police Car, Truck Yeah, and assisting in promoting events and many other generous contributions throughout the year. We are thankful for your valued partnership and continued support. The Business Partner of the Year, Crown Consulting Group. The Certificate of Appreciation reads, in recognition of your outstanding contribution to our department's mission of partnering with the community by donating food baskets and bikes for the 6th straight year for our holiday Toys for Kids in Needs program, we are thankful for your valued partnership and continued support. COVID-19 Award. The year 2020 has been a challenging year in dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Our department employees have interacted with the community on a daily basis, therefore exposing themselves to the possibility of COVID-19. Our employees have not let COVID-19 deter them from the department's mission of partnering with the community to improve the quality of life, preserve order, and provide excellence in police service. Therefore, every police department employee is receiving a COVID-19 campaign ribbon for their service during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Outside Agency Award. The following officer is being awarded an agency uniform ribbon for receiving an award from an organization outside of the Ocoee Police Department. Orlando Police Department. In 2020, Officer Adio was honored by the Orlando Police Department for his courage, selflessness, and the disregard for his own safety he demonstrated in the apprehension of 2 suspects involved in the attempted murder of a police officer. His hard work and professionalism have not gone unnoticed. The Merit Award will be presented by Assistant Chief Placencia.
Lieutenant Maria Iannuzzi and Lieutenant Scott Nylander recognized a need within the department. They noted employees were recognized for their exemplary performance, bravery, and service to the department and community, but oftentimes these awards were not attended by other personnel within the department. This leads to their achievements not receiving full recognition of all department personnel due to the limited audience present. As our employees are humble, other employees would recognize their quality performance and perceive that exemplary performance was not being rewarded or recognized. Lieutenants Iannuzzi and Nylander identified the need, presented the problem, and posed a solution in the form of an annual awards ceremony to the command staff. Once the concept was approved, they established a plan to approach a community partner about hosting the ceremony. They approached High Point Church, specifically Pastor Keith Tower and his immediate team, with a basic concept. High Point Church was so enthusiastic about the ceremony, they immediately became a partner, providing not only the location and a master of ceremony, but printed programs, a visual presentation, and a reception for the Ocoee Police Department. High Point Church's congregation also joined in planning to serve on the night of the awards and recognition reception. This led to the creation of the inaugural Ocoee Police Department Awards and Recognition Reception. After forming the community partnership, the lieutenant set about the arduous work of documenting all the previously issued awards, preparing language for the award certificates, and creating a logistics plan to keep the ceremony meaningful. As they began their process of documenting awards and identifying service recognitions and considering monumental milestones, Lieutenant Iannuzzi and Lieutenant Nylander were blitzed with additional recommendations for awards. Once the awards were collected, they began preparing the program, crafting language for each individual award, and producing a script for the program. While this was happening, they had to meet regularly with the staff of High Point Church to determine the layout for the pre-event, the staging for the awards, and identifying the resources required to set the stage for awards, recognition, and reception. In approving the awards and recognition reception, Chief Charles Brown told the lieutenants, "The challenge of an award reception is keeping the attendance as a participatory audience for the benefit of the award receivers." He challenged them to keep the ceremony moving and not a boring, long, drawn-out affair. The inaugural awards reception was held on January 31st, 2020. From start to finish, the ceremony was orchestrated as a well-paid professional event. The award recipients were in awe over their atmosphere created for them, and the other attendees were inspired to achieve and excel in their professional careers. Even if an attendee was not receiving an award, the atmosphere created by High Point Church and the lieutenants was an opportunity for our entire agency to spend time in fellowship together. The value of a moment so needed, yet so rare, cannot be underestimated. To say the awards and recognition reception was well received is an understatement. Lieutenant Iannuzzi and Lieutenant Nylander are awarded the Merit Award for their efforts in proposing, organizing, and producing the inaugural awards and recognition reception, which has enhanced the department's programs. The true success of any program is whether it is maintained and continued within the agency. Today, we stand at our second award and recognition ceremony. Congratulations, Lieutenant Maria Iannuzzi and Lieutenant Scott Nylander, on your Merit Award.
A life-saving award is awarded to employees for life-saving acts. On January 3rd, 2021, at approximately 08 hours, Ocoee officers were dispatched to the area of the Turnpike and West Colonial Drive in reference to a rollover crash. Upon arrival, officers contacted a male who advised he was in the passenger seat of the vehicle when it overturned. The male advised the driver fled into the woods before police arrived on scene. A small perimeter was then established. After querying the VIN through teletype, the vehicle was found to be stolen out of Orlando. At this time, the passenger fled the scene while being treated by the fire department. It was determined the male on scene was the driver of the vehicle. A canine track was conducted. With the help of canine and a drone, the suspect was found in the middle of the retention pond, struggling to stay above water and screaming for help. The suspect's head went below the waterline several times. Officer Kelly then removed his gun belt and equipment and went into the retention pond to rescue the suspect. The retention pond was too deep to stand in. Officer Kelly had to swim to the suspect and drag him back to the shoreline. The suspect vomited multiple times due to water inhalation and was treated by the fire department. The suspect was then turned over to the Florida Highway Patrol as the incident occurred in their jurisdiction. A firearm was found on the shoreline of the retention pond. The driver was arrested on stolen vehicle and firearm charges by the Florida Highway Patrol. The suspect was in imminent danger from drowning in the retention pond. If Officer Kelly had not entered the water in order to pull the suspect to safety, there is a high likelihood that the suspect would have drowned in the retention pond. Officer Kelly's actions saved the life of the suspect. The Chief Special Award is awarded by the Chief of Police at his discretion and may be presented to a distinguished employee or citizen. On September 28, 2020, Officer Munoz was heading home on State Road 429 when he came upon a head-on collision. Officer Munoz observed that a pickup truck had crossed over from the northbound lanes and crashed head-on to a dump truck that was traveling southbound. The driver of the pickup truck was severely bleeding and was trapped inside the vehicle. Officer Munoz coordinated with multiple civilians to free the driver and to get him to where he and others could render aid until the fire department arrived. Officer Munoz's pants and boots were covered in the driver's blood. Officer Munoz should be commended for his actions that possibly saved a life. At the time, Officer Munoz was off duty, and his actions, even off duty, reinforced our mission of partnering with the community to improve quality of life, preserve order, and provide excellence in police service. Therefore, Officer Munoz is being awarded the Chief's Special Award. A commander's commendation is awarded for operational excellence and non-routine conduct in a particular assignment. The commander's commendation. Corporal Jason Price, in addition to performing his job at an exemplary level, demonstrates an extraordinary commitment to the City of Ocoee Police Department, as well as to the city's citizens of Ocoee. Corporal Price took over as the acting sergeant of Bravo Nights from March 2020 until September 2020. During this time, the world was stricken with the COVID-19 pandemic and civil unrest demonstrations. While in this position, Corporal Price was willing to sacrifice his personal time and limited his PTO, choosing to put the needs of the department ahead of his own. On May 30th, 2020, during the civil unrest months of May and June 2020, several individuals broke into the West Oaks Mall and began burglarizing and vandalizing businesses. Corporal Price's quick response and leadership during this incident brought a swift ending to the looting and resulted in 4 arrests. Through this incredibly stressful civil unrest time, Corporal Price always stayed upbeat, looked for positive outcomes or compromises in difficult circumstances, and focused on the good. Corporal Price should be recognized for his personal motivation, excellent teamwork, and the professionalism that he displayed supervising Bravo Nights. Furthermore, this exemplary job performance demonstrates his dedication to this department and, more importantly, to the public which he serves. Corporal Price is being awarded the Chief's Special Award. Commander's Commendation. On October 1st, 2020, officers from both Patrol A, Mids, and Nights responded to the area of Silver Star Road in reference to a shooting. A male victim was found at the location with a gunshot wound. The crime scene was immediately secured and preserved. A contamination sheet was started, and witnesses were immediately identified and interviewed. Officer Lindsay Ellison was quick to begin CPR efforts on the victim until Ocoee Fire Department arrived on scene. Multiple suspects were soon identified based on the interviews conducted by officers Marissa Cummins and Craven Kelly. Based on this information and prior knowledge of the individuals involved, 2 suspects were apprehended by officers Ashley Correa and Craven Kelly, all within the hour. The suspect vehicle was located and secured. Key pieces of electronic evidence were collected for forensic download, and the suspect's residence was secured for a search warrant to be obtained. A 3rd suspect and shooter were identified based on spontaneous utterances made by one of the suspects to Officer Correa. This information led to a warrant being obtained for felony murder, robbery, and other criminal charges by the Criminal Investigations Division. Detective Joe Rodriguez and Detective Dominic Cucciarelli were the primary detectives assigned to this homicide investigation. Both detectives interviewed the suspects and were able to develop a rapport with both suspects. During the interviews, the detectives were able to get the suspects to confess to their involvement and confirm the identity of the primary suspect, the shooter. From the interviews, detectives were able to get one of the suspects to confess to hiding the gun that was used during the homicide. There were also 3 additional firearms that were stolen from the victim during the commission of the homicide that were also hidden with the murder weapon. Detective Cucciarelli and Detective Rodriguez recovered all firearms involved from a home in Orlando. One of the suspects was arrested, and a warrant was issued for the arrest of the primary suspect. Over the next few days, Detective Rodriguez worked on his scheduled days off with the crime scene investigator, evidence technician, patrol officers, the state attorney's office, other local law enforcement agencies, and multiple federal law enforcement agencies to successfully prosecute this case and try and locate the primary suspect. Travel advisories and holds were secured, and 3 days after the homicide, the suspect turned himself into the jail. Detective Rodriguez continued his investigation and working with the state attorney's office as multiple tips kept getting reported. Detective Rodriguez investigated every tip and made sure the victims' families were kept up to date. Besides the previous officers and detectives already mentioned, the following Ocoee officers played a vital role in this investigation. Sergeant James Barish, Officer Israel Jarena, Officer Michael Bowen, Officer Brooke Hendricks, Officer Omar Valle Torres, Sergeant Blake Prince, Sergeant David Ogletree, Officer Eric Edwards, Officer Dwayne Davis, Officer Thomas Stern, Officer John Huss, and CSI Don Carlton. No matter what role each officer was responsible for, everyone played an important part throughout this incident. Therefore, these officers should also be recognized for their actions. Detective Joseph Rodriguez, Detective Dominic Cucciarelli, Officer Craven Kelly, Officer Ashley Correa, Officer Lindsay Ellison, and Officer Marissa Cummings should be commended for their actions. Each of these officers and detectives are being awarded a Commander's Commendation for the successful investigation that led to the apprehension of the suspects involved. The Chief's Special Award is awarded by the Chief of Police at his discretion and may be presented to a distinguished employee or citizen. A Commander's Commendation is awarded for operational excellence and non-routine conduct in a particular assignment. An Award of Valor is awarded for conduct involving sound judgment in which one knowingly and despite clear and present danger of death or great bodily harm performs his or her duty. On July 23rd, 2020, officers were dispatched to Stark Lake for a male who was possibly drowning. Citizen Richard Hornsby, Corporal Jerry Lewis, and Officer Peter Cady, without hesitation and with a complete and total disregard for their personal safety, immediately entered the water in an attempt to locate the submerged male victim. They were approximately 30 feet from the shoreline and treading water as the water line was up to their necks. Within a couple of minutes, the unconscious submerged male victim was located by Richard Hornsby on the lake bottom and brought to the surface. Officer Cady then took the unconscious victim to the shoreline, where CSA Adam Hopkins assisted in removing the individual from the water. The shoreline has a steep incline and is very slippery and muddy. This obstacle required significant effort to pull the male victim to a flat, dry surface. Once on shore an AED was utilized and successfully applied a shock to the still unconscious male. CPR was initiated by CSA Hopkins and continued by Officer Natalia Ortiz. Officer John Park administered the breaths in between compression cycles, utilizing a one-way valve CPR mask. Fire rescue arrived on scene and took over medical care from our exhausted employees. Corporal Lewis and Officer Katie required some rest to recover. Citizen Richard Hornsby should be commended for his actions and is receiving the Chief's Special Award. Officer John Park, Officer Natalia Ortiz, and CSA Adam Hopkins immediately recognized the difficulty this rescue presented and displayed seamless, exceptional teamwork and are being recognized for that and are being awarded a Commander's Commendation. Despite clear and present danger of great bodily harm, both Corporal Lewis and Officer Katie displayed courage and bravery while showing sound judgment in the performance of their duties by entering the lake to search for the victim and once located, bringing him to shore. Therefore, they are being awarded the Award of Valor. An Award of Valor is awarded for conduct involving sound judgment in which one knowingly and despite clear and present danger of death or great bodily harm performs his or her duty. On July 30th, 2020, the Windermere Police Department requested our assistance in reference to a home invasion in progress. A 9-year-old boy called police stating he heard his grandparents screaming and there was someone breaking into his residence where he lived with his grandparents and uncle. Within minutes, Officer Schilling and Officer Bonner arrived on scene with Windermere PD units and immediately approached the residence. At this time, the officers had very little information, but did not hesitate in entering the residence in order to locate the young boy. Upon entering the residence, officers located the grandmother in a hallway, unable to move due to suffering serious injuries as a result of being hit with a baseball bat. Officer Bonner and a Windermere officer stayed with the grandmother to protect her from the suspect, while Officer Schilling and another Windermere officer searched for the boy. The boy was found hiding in a closet, and Officer Schilling grabbed the boy, covered his eyes, and brought him out of the house to safety. The grandmother sustained serious injuries, but was also eventually safely brought out of the house after a coordinated effort led by Sergeant Satterley. Unfortunately, the grandfather and uncle were murdered on scene prior to police arrival. During the search for the boy, officers observed the suspect still inside the house, run into a bathroom and close the door. After several hours of trying to negotiate with the suspect, officers from the Windermere Police Department, the Ocoee Police Department, and the Orange County Sheriff's Office made entry into the bathroom and safely took custody of the suspect. Besides officers from the Windermere Police Department and OCSO, the following Ocoee officers played a vital role in the safe apprehension of the suspect. Officers Joshua Bodie, Officer Thomas Hall, Officer Travis Clark, Officer Chris Conzen, Officer Sarah Swarthout, and Sergeant Brian Satterley. No matter what role each officer was responsible for, everyone played an important part throughout this incident. Therefore, these officers should also be recognized for their actions. Although Officer Schilling and Officer Bonner were the first officers who arrived on scene, any of our officers working on this night would have performed just as admirably if they were placed in the same situation as Officer Schilling and Officer Bonner. It's tragic when two people lose their lives in a senseless act, but there is no doubt the quick response of the Ocoee Police Department and Windermere Police Department helped save 2 lives on that night. Officers entered the house under a chaotic situation in which they knowingly and despite clear and present danger of death or great bodily harm, performed their duties by saving the lives of 2 family members and bringing the suspect responsible for the killing of 2 other family members safely into custody. For their actions, Officer Schilling and Officer Bonner are being awarded the Award of Valor. Officer of the First Quarter. Officer Dwayne Davis is being recognized as the Officer of the First Quarter and is also being nominated for Officer of the Year. On the morning of February 25th, Officer Dwayne Davis helped out with a disabled vehicle driven by an elderly female who had run out of gas and did not have any person she could call and no ability to get gas in order to make it home. Officer Davis went to the store and purchased a small gas can, filled the can with gas, and then returned to the elderly female's vehicle and filled up her tank. This provided enough fuel for the elderly female to make it to a gas station and fill her vehicle. Officer Davis expressed concern for a vulnerable person who did not have any means to help herself. Officer Davis's selfless act prevented harm from coming to the female and got her back to the safety of her home. Officer of the Second Quarter. Officer Craven Kelly is being recognized as the Officer of the Second Quarter and is also being nominated for Officer of the Year. On April 11th, Officer Kelly investigated a domestic battery incident where the suspect struck his mother in the face and fled the scene. Officer Kelly, who believed the suspect would return to the residence at some point during the night, stayed in the vicinity of the residence. The suspect eventually returned to the residence and got into yet another altercation with the victim, and had now armed himself with a knife and began to break glass items inside the home. Officer Kelly forced entry into the residence and confronted the armed suspect. He unholstered his conducted electrical weapon, taser, and challenged the suspect in the bathroom. However, Officer Kelly was able to use his knowledge of defensive tactics to safely secure the suspect and did not have to use his taser. Officer Kelly showed great determination and compassion during the investigation and subsequent events. Officer Kelly's quick thinking and fearless actions prevented the suspect from injuring the victim any further and removed a dangerous and violent criminal off the streets of Ocoee. Officer of the Third Quarter. Officer Jose Massanova Massanet and Officer Juan Munoz are being recognized as the Officers of the Third Quarter and are also being nominated for Officer of the Year. Officer Jose Massanet and Officer Juan Munoz were able to successfully complete 11 full background investigations during the summer months. An average background investigation report can include between 200 to 300 pages of material once the investigation is complete. Historically, background investigations vary depending on a multitude of factors, but the average background conducted by a single investigator usually takes a few months. Completing 11 full background investigations by 2 investigators in a short amount of time is unusual and demonstrated great organization skills, investigative skills, and time management skills that led to a thorough, complete, detailed, and comprehensive work product. Officer of the Fourth Quarter. Officer Matthew Ramirez and Officer Dwayne Davis are being recognized as the Officers of the Fourth Quarter and are also being nominated for Officer of the Year. On November 17th, the Ocoee Police Department received an attempt to contact request from the Winter Springs Police Department in reference to a violent felony suspect that had eluded capture in Winter Springs and was believed to now be located at a residence in Ocoee. Officers Davis and Ramirez utilized an unmarked vehicle to conduct surveillance and deployed a department-issued unmanned aerial vehicle, drone. Shortly thereafter, Officer Davis observed the vehicle exit the driveway of the residence while being driven by the suspect. Officer Davis followed the vehicle with the drone while his spotter, Officer Ramirez, provided step-by-step movements of the suspect vehicle to include cross streets and direction of travel. Because of the instructions being provided by Officer Ramirez and due to Officer Davis's drone maneuvering ability, other officers were able to conduct a felony stop on the vehicle before it exited the gated community. The suspect had a firearm located under the seat next to him and was arrested and charged by the Winter Springs Police Department on numerous violent felony charges. Both officers worked as a cohesive unit and team, which led to the successful conclusion of the event. Volunteer of the Year, Oscar Plasencia. Earlier this year, Officer Plasencia started with the police department as a reserve officer. Officer Plasencia dedicated 30 12-hour days in a short amount of time to complete the field training program at the pace of a full-time officer. Officer Plasencia continues to be a great asset to the department in the training of officers in the use of firearms. Officer Plasencia has helped several officers improve in the use of firearms to a higher level of proficiency. He also helped start a marksmanship program that has been a great benefit to all members of the agency. This program is currently utilized 2 days a month at the department range and focuses on the fundamentals of marksmanship and firearms safety. Training to include pistol, rifle, and the use of protective shields is offered to all Ocoee police officers. The unanimous agreement amongst the officers was that the training was superior and positive. In addition, Officer Plasencia is currently working with cadet students on other training days to ensure that a high success rate is maintained during the firearms portion of the police academy, as firearms training in the academy is a high liability course, and any failure puts the cadet and the department months behind and at a monetary loss. Officer Plasencia is a valuable asset to the community, city, and department, and is the 2020 Volunteer of the Year. Civilian of the Year nominee, Dawn Carlton. CSI Dawn Carlton responded to many calls for service to include property crimes, sex crimes, violent crimes, and death investigations such as overdoses, suicides, and homicides. Due to the nature of her position, she is regularly exposed to traumatic crime scenes. However, she accomplishes her job tasks to the best of her abilities, as she is a hard worker and always conducts a thorough and professional investigation. During 2020, Dawn also assisted with preparing the budget needs for her current assignment to include the purchase of new equipment, a new CSI vehicle, and the purchase of a 3D crime scene scanner from Faro. Upon the purchase of the 3D scanner in mid-year of 2020, the scanner was used approximately 26 times, 4 times for THIs and 22 times for crime scenes. Dawn also presented a new CSI policy for her position, which is currently to be reviewed in conjunction with the department's evidence policy. Dawn also has responsibilities other than crime scene investigation. One of those responsibilities is being the agency's point of contact for Axon, which includes body cameras. Besides body cameras, Dawn has been instrumental in getting 2 new Axon programs started. Dawn is a valuable asset for the police department, city, and community. She is a team player, hard worker, and willing to put the needs of the community and department before her own. Therefore, she was nominated as the 2020 Civilian of the Year. Civilian of the Year, Wendy Cady. Wendy Cady is an administrative assistant for the Criminal Investigation Division. She has worked in the position for the last 14 years and approaches each day with the same enthusiasm, drive, and energy as she did throughout her first year assigned to CID. She has been selected as a Civilian of the Year for her work ethic, commitment to her daily job responsibilities, and taking on the additional responsibilities beyond her current assignment. Wendy is the civilian detective of the department and is instrumental in the day-to-day operations. Wendy is often praised by the detectives, and most recently, 3 sergeant candidates who were interested in the vacant CID sergeant position. All three candidates raved about Wendy as a person and stated how she is the seventh detective, the glue that holds everything together, and the co-investigator with the detectives. Besides her daily responsibilities, Wendy took on additional responsibilities by helping coordinate the Toys for Kids in Need program and assisting the Community Affairs Unit during the holidays. Wendy played an instrumental role in making the program a success and genuinely cares for the children and families in our community. Wendy puts the community's needs, department needs, and the detective needs before her own, and this should not go unnoticed or unrecognized. Wendy is a valuable asset to the community and the department, as she is willing to do whatever it takes to help the department and the community. Therefore, she is being recognized as the 2020 Civilian of the Year. Officer of the Year nominees. In addition to the Officer of the Quarter winners whose nominations were previously read earlier in the program, Detective Joseph Rodriguez is also being nominated as the Officer of the Year. Detective Joseph Rodriguez has been selected as the 2020 Officer of the Year for his involvement as a detective in multiple different types of investigations, to include economic crimes, property crimes, sex crimes, and violent person crimes. Detective Rodriguez also assisted patrol officers in several calls for services and assisted a person in medical need while off duty. An example of a few of these investigations and incidents are as follows. On February 4th, Detective Rodriguez was notified by patrol officers they had found a 26-year-old male in a park with a 14-year-old female and suspected a sex crime had occurred. Investigation revealed the suspect met the victim online, pretended to be 16 years of age, and traveled 83 miles to meet the victim in order to have sex with her. Detective Rodriguez worked with YUBO, the application used to communicate by the suspect, and which was located in France, by video conferencing with the representatives and obtaining necessary information for the case. Through multiple investigative resources and interviews, Detective Rodriguez was able to arrest the suspect for his crimes. On March 4th, Detective Rodriguez was in Walmart following up on a case when he heard the LP say suspects were walking out with large bins of unpaid merchandise. Detective Rodriguez captured and detained one of the suspects in front of Walmart and coordinated with patrol to capture and locate the other suspects and recover approximately $350 in stolen merchandise. On April 22nd, Detective Rodriguez was investigating a burglary when he went to recanvass the area and identified a suspect. Detective Rodriguez talked to the suspect, and she confessed where the stolen property was located, and Detective Rodriguez recovered the stolen property and returned the property to the victim. On July 20th, Detective Rodriguez was off but notified of a fraud. The suspect allegedly emailed herself the personal information of 54 clients of SunPass. Detective Rodriguez's investigation revealed the suspect used the victim's credit card information to make online purchases. After a search warrant was executed on the suspect's Google account, more victims were discovered, and there were approximately 71 victims. On September 17th, a warrant was obtained for the arrest of the suspect. During the course of the investigation, Detective Rodriguez had to work with many agencies, to include Florida Department of Transportation. On August 25th, Detective Rodriguez received notification that due to his hard work on a credit card identity theft ring group investigation, the United States Secret Service is using Detective Rodriguez's investigation to federally prosecute 8 persons on federal RICO charges. On October 1st, Detective Rodriguez responded to an aggravated battery with a firearm, which turned into a homicide. Detective Rodriguez marshaled all resources needed, taking lead in solving the eventual homicide within a short time. Detective Rodriguez was able to obtain confessions from 2 suspects and make 2 arrests. One of the suspects had hidden the firearm used in the homicide, along with 3 other guns at a family's house in Orlando. Detective Rodriguez was able to recover all 4 firearms. Throughout this case, Detective Rodriguez partnered with the SAO, FDLE, CSI, and multiple local and federal law enforcement agencies. On October 12th, Detective Rodriguez was flying to Florida from another part of the country when he observed a medical issue in another part of the cabin. Detective Rodriguez told the flight attendant that he was a first responder and to let the emergency room nurse who was assisting the person in the medical issue know if she needed help. He was able to assist. The ER nurse immediately requested Detective Rodriguez's help, and he, not on duty, stepped up, providing any assistance the nurse needed. The patient made it to their destination in no small part due to the ER nurse and Detective Rodriguez's help. Detective Joseph Rodriguez embodies the department's mission of partnering with the community to improve quality of life, preserve order, and provide excellence in police service. Detective Rodriguez works tirelessly to improve the quality of life of those he serves, consistently goes above and beyond to provide excellence in police service, and is invested in the community he serves. Detective Rodriguez is being recognized as the 2020 Officer of the Year. Chief Charles J. Brown will be retiring. Please welcome Assistant Chief Placencia.
So in doing our awards for tenure and service earlier, there was a very important award we missed, and that award is the award for 28 years of service that we're honoring Chief Brown. But in this case, Chief Brown honored himself because Chief Brown actually signed the award for his 28 years of service. Whoops, sorry, upside down. So congratulations, Chief Brown, on 28 years of service. We appreciate you. And for our next moment, Chief, there's something very important that I need you to do. I need you to cede your authority, take a moment of leave, and appoint me as the acting police chief for a moment in your absence. I'm not gone. You're not gone, but I need you to cede your authority for just a few minutes, please. Okay. So Chief Charles Brown was hired by the Ocoee Police Department on November 23rd, 1992. He attended Seminole Community College, earning his law enforcement certification. Chief Brown holds an Associate's in Arts from Valencia College in General Studies and a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice from his beloved University of Central Florida. Chief Brown has served in many positions within the department to include patrol officer, bicycle officer, field training officer, and a traffic officer. He was promoted to police sergeant on October 6, 1997, serving as a patrol supervisor and a detective sergeant. As a detective sergeant, he supervised the investigations of the death of Ms. Chakowski and the attempted murder of Mr. Benson. On August 4, 2004, he was promoted to lieutenant, serving as a patrol and an operations lieutenant. Chief Brown was promoted to deputy chief on June 19, 2007, and then on August 25, 2008, he was promoted to his current rank, the Chief of Police of the Ocoee Police Department. In all these positions, Chief Brown has distinguished himself as a skilled law enforcement chief for the Ocoee Police Department, whose devotion and allegiance to his profession has been instrumental in the success of the Ocoee Police Department. During his tenure of over 28 years of devoted service to the Ocoee Police Department and the citizens of Ocoee, Chief Brown has earned the respect and admiration of his subordinates and colleagues for his leadership, professionalism, and vision. Chief Brown is a dedicated chief. He embodies the mission of the Ocoee Police Department, committed to partnering with the community to improve the quality of life, preserve order, and provide excellence in police service. He demonstrates the Ocoee Police Department values of being approachable and responsive to the community we serve. Chief Brown's career has been devoted to mentoring men and women in law enforcement by setting an example of ethics, dedication to duty, and helping each of them realize their full potential. Serving for over 12 years as Chief of Police, the department's longest serving chief in its history, Chief Brown's leadership has been significant in transitioning a local police department into an accredited police agency. Yet, a policing philosophy was imbued from the leadership to the officers of the department, noting policing is providing excellent customer service and partnering with all segments of our community. Your commitment to our personnel training and equipment are the reasons the Ocoee Police Department has a high level of success within our community, a community that loves our department. Your leadership inspires every person serving in the Ocoee Police Department to be their best, in turn making the department the best. In recognition of your outstanding achievement of departmental goals and exceptional devotion to duty in furtherance of the law enforcement profession, you are being awarded the Chief Special Award. Congratulations, Chief.
All right, so today we get to see everything from combating crime to our public service to the public to me retiring. And it has been, even though we've had our challenges throughout this year, it really has been a good year for our service, and we continued our dedicated service to the community. One of the things that I probably am most proud of, and I have been throughout the time, is all the people that we employ here and how great they are, and you can see that every year when we recognize them. So thank you all. Thanks for tuning in, and have another great year. And hopefully everybody has a rewarding year or career as I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's Night of Excellence, our award ceremony honoring the Ocoee Police Department. Please bow your heads and join me with a closing benediction. Father in heaven, while we were surprised with the kind of year 2020 was, God, we know that you weren't. And while we were surprised with the events that took place around us, we were not surprised with the heroism, the bravery, the courage, and the excellence of the men and women who serve in and alongside the Ocoee Police Department. And God, in the year that's now upon us and the year ahead, Father, I pray that you would bless this department and each of its members. God, that you would honor them. God, that you would protect them. God, that you would keep them safe. And Father, we are grateful to you because you do say in your word that every good and perfect gift comes from you. And we count this department as a community. We count this department as a great gift to us to protect us and to provide excellent service in all they do. In Jesus' name, amen.